Hi, this is Sive Morten with the daily update on EuroFX. I post my exclusive market overviews with the key political and economical events, charts and important levels on the ForexPeaceArmy.com forums weekly. This short video is a response to rapidly changing situation on the currency markets and should help you to stay on top of the game and be profitable. I suggest you to visit ForexPeaceArmy.com forum and read my analysis for the week before watching this daily video.
Welcome back everybody, let's take a look again on the euro currency. So last week we've got a lot of important information, but it has not become kind of the decisive news. So well, we have known something new in relation to the Fed policy, to the liquidity in the United States banking system, but currently, well, it has not really big scale. The changes are not really too big to make impact on the overall situation. For Jerome Powell actually said nothing new, he just repeated the same things that he has said on the Fed meeting. So from that standpoint, we've got no surprises. And in general, the policy of the Fed is some kind of the compromise between the growth and recession. So he has tried to sit on the two chairs, which is actually impossible. You have to either support the consumption, set high import taxes, import fees just to close the way of the cheap China goods on the US market and force the population to consume domestic goods to stimulate production, or you just have to raise rates significantly higher to crush the inflation. So it should be somewhere to the 15% at least, as a Paul Walker did. But that is very, well, it's impossible to do for the Fed, because actually behind the government party right now stands the banking sector. They are major beneficiaries of the low interest rates, and the rising rates significantly higher means they really collapse in the earnings of this powerful political force. And Jerome Powell can't do this. And from that standpoint, that's why everything goes as it goes. They're just trying to react on the problems, plug the holes where they have appearing, but they are not resolving the major problem. Sooner or later, but this situation will lead to big problems. So that's what about Powell. At the same time, we do not have a lot of changes in liquidity situation. So we see that balance of the Fed balance of the United States treasuries have increased a bit, while the Fed has sold out of the balance some papers. Also, we see changes in the money market funds that have dropped, but all this fluctuation stands around 20-25 billions. So this is not really significant, and it might be just statistical fluctuations in the system. That's really huge. That's why to make the decision what the sources will be, how it will impact on the markets, we need to wait when really big new issues of the United States debt and bonds will be placed on the market by the Fed. And it's more interesting in what the terms the refinancing will be, whether the United States Treasury will refinance short-term debt with a longer-term debt or with the short-term debt. So it also will make impact on the system. So we have discussed this in our weekly report this time. Speaking on the recent euro performance, we could make the conclusion that market really have the big doubts on the current tendency, and investors are not sure, feel some doubts, maybe a bit skeptic on the current performance, because take a look, just few negative PMI numbers from the France and the Germany were enough to stop the tendency and trigger significant drop on the euro currency. It immediately has led to thinking and talking about the next European Central Bank step, whether European Central Bank will be commitment enough or stubborn enough in fighting on the inflation. So it just reflects and making evident that investors are not sure. They stand in decision. It just shows the reaction Friday on the PMI data that actually was not strong in the previous months as well. Although from the technical point of view, this reaction is reasonable. As we have discussed, this is major COP, it's really wide ABCD pattern, and the 30% pullback here is absolutely normal from the technical point of view. Now we need to create the trading plan for next week. Fortunately or unfortunately, but we do not have any changes on the monthly and weekly chart. The performance stands so tight, and actually our price action stands in the range of the May, so it makes no big impact on high picture. So maybe within the few weeks we will get more clarity, but currently we could focus on the daily and intraday performance. And based on the current situation, what we could say, first of all, this rally was, well, maybe not as strong, but in general it still was rather thrusty. And here we could suggest a kind of the bread and butter performance. This will not become the pure bread and butter by the Jod Napoli, but let's call it as a momentum trade, because here is no doubts we have some bullish momentum. And market after that has completed first downside drop right to the 30% support. This is first moment. It means that right in the beginning of the week, it's really high chances that we will get some more or less extended pullback here on intraday charts. At the same time, with this performance down, you could see that market has formed bearish reversal swing. It was rather sharp sell-off. Even hand and shoulders has not been formed. And we have suggested market dropped directly to the daily fib support, and actually this is also a conference support you can see on the fall time frame chart, which means that this type of the performance with a high degree of the probability should have the continuation. So we could get two leg downside action. That leads us to the shape of the market performance next week that we will be watching for. First, we have first leg down. Now we expect some more or less upward pullback. And after that, we should get downside continuation. So that's approximately that we will put in our trading plan initially. And we will see what will happen in the progress in our daily updates as usual. For the target to the downside, I would consider on the daily chart an area around 108, 108.10. It's just because this will be 50% support on the daily chart. I would not have it on here, but it stands around 108.15 approximately. You could calculate by yourself. And take a look, that will be also daily oversold. It means that, well, hardly next week market will break it easily, especially after this kind of action. So most probable that will be the bottom for next week. It's around 108, 108.50 area. So that's what about downside target. Speaking about upside pullback, and take a look, since we do not have the whole Jod Napoli thrust, it's a bit smaller. That's why we can't consider 109.50 as, well, very probable destination point. I would suggest that it's more probable that we will get either 109.15 confluence right there, or maybe market could try to climb slightly higher somewhere once again to the 50% level, 109.30. So let's suggest that this will be 109.50, 109.30 is the nearest upside destination point. Taking it all together, depending on direction that you would like to trade, you have multiple trading setups. First of all, if you're a scalp trader, you could consider taking the long position here on some pullback once market will start forming some bullish patterns. For instance, you could drop your time frame to the 5-minute chart, 15-minute chart. For instance, we could get here a kind of regardless triple to buy, suggesting pullback somewhere to 108.70, 108.65, where theoretically we could get chances to get to come aboard and get some kind of the ABCD upward performance. That's for the scalp trading. If you're trading on a high time frame, then you do nothing and just wait when the downside, some kind of the ABCD pattern here to the downside around 108 area will be over, and here you could consider another chance for a long entry on the euro currency. The same story for the bears. If you would like to take the short position, you are watching for this level 109.50, 109.30, but for taking the short position, so where scalpers will take the profit on upward action, you will consider taking the short position. Once this some kind of the ABC patient will be over, we will get Gartley steeple to sell, and that might be the starting point of the next leg down. So that's approximately what we could consider, and just let's go step by step depending on how market what the progression market will show through the week.